What's up, Cigar Club family? Welcome back to another episode of the Cigar Club podcast. Thank you all so much for tuning in and leaving your thoughts and feedback on each episode. If this is your first time joining us on the Cigar Club podcast, this is where we talk about all things cigars with you, the Cigar Club family. On today's episode, I'm going to be blind ranking cigars. Ramsey is going to be joining us here shortly. He's got a list of 10 cigars that have all appeared on a Cigar Aficionado's Top 25 in the last 2 years. He's going to give me a cigar, and I'm going to put it where I think it will fall in 1 through 10, and I have to rank it before I'm given the next one. So the difficulty of this is, if I place a cigar at number 3, but then something really good comes in and I want to put it at 2, I can't move number 3. So it's a little kind of viral way of ranking things lately. We thought it'd be fun. We hope you enjoy it with us as well. But I am smoking the Bits of Havana San Andreas. This is a Mexican San Andreas wrapper with Nicaraguan binder and filler. It is a 5x48. This was sent to me by Sam Hopkins. Sam, thank you again for sending me this cigar. I can't remember if I've smoked one of these or not. I thought you sent me 2, but I don't quite remember. But I grabbed this cigar because I am pairing it with the latest offering of one of my favorite cold brewed coffee companies. Now, granted, that's not all they do. They make wonderful coffee, but that's going to be Slingshot Coffee. This is their brand new chilled espresso offering. They came out with this less than a month ago. I immediately jumped on it and purchased it. This is a triple shot, unsweetened chilled espresso. Now, let's see what they have on here. The traditional Italian espresso for the modern coffee drinker. Wow, that sounds fancy. Now, I have had one of these already, so I knew it would go really well, or I assumed it would go really well with this Bits of Havana San Andreas. So I'm really excited to pair these. I grabbed the espresso drink because this cigar reminds me of Corto. Now, obviously, Kyle Gellis makes both of these. This Bits of Havana is through his Dropped brand. I guess technically it's still Warped, and then the Corto is through Warped. Corto is probably my absolute all-time favorite cigar to pair with espresso. They go hand in hand. I don't think there's a better example of how perfect a pairing can be when you find it. And for me, that one, that's like my go-to example representation of what a perfect pairing is. And I've talked so much, I let it go out. Whoops. So off the bat with this cigar on the cold draw, it was like pure milk chocolate, cocoa nib. Really any way that you can describe chocolate was what I was getting, that sweetness, which is why I went with milk chocolate. Yeah, and still milk chocolatey, very creamy on the retrohale, which I really, really enjoy. And then behind that chocolate is earth, some little bit of spice to it. Might be pepper, might be white pepper. I don't know if it's white or black pepper. It's not too pungent, so I would probably lean more towards white pepper. But so far, really good with this. I know it's going to go well just based off it being a chocolatey bomb. It adds, especially with this espresso being unsweetened, it adds a little bit of that sweetness that you would necessarily, or you may want with your espresso. Alrighty, so let's get into it. Once again, all of these cigars that Ramsey's going to be giving me have been in the Cigar Aficionado Top 25 list within the past 2 years. So let's go ahead without further ado. Let's bring in the man behind the camera normally. He's going to be the man in front of the camera. He's the one who does all the wonderful job making me look better than I really am. Ramsey,
it's a tough job. It's a tough job.
It is. Welcome to the Cigar Club podcast, my friend. It has been, well, you haven't joined just me. Usually I invite you. Usually you don't, you prefer your behind the camera. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, I like being behind the scenes, behind the screen, but
you do a good job. You may trip over a few camera lenses here and there. Delete footage, forget about footage. But you know what? It's okay. How are you, buddy? How have things been?
I'm doing good. I'm a little tired this morning, so I got the Red Bull. No cigar because I'm inside. Bummer, but
you got to get that off. This rule's changed.
Yeah, I got to talk to the landlord.
Just start
If I could open these 2 windows,
yeah.
I think no one would know.
No, exactly. Blow it straight
they're
out.
Locked.
Oh,
so
I don't do that then. So I am going to make you work after this one. I'm going to want graphics. I'm going to want lists where I'm putting the cigars.
I already knew you'd make me do that.
Are you writing these down as I give them to you so you can rehash them at the end for me?
Yep,
Sweet.
I'll put numbers by each one. All right, the first cigar brand that, like you said, has been featured in Cigar Aficionado within the past 2 years is a brand that we know very well at Cigar Club, and that is Alec Bradley.
Oh, Jesus, you're not going to make this easy at all.
God, no.
Oh, no. I thought this was going to be... Easy's not the right word. I mean, I had this idea to do after seeing all the viral ratings and rankings across the internet. This is not going to be easy because the difficulty is going to be, oh, all right, awesome. Let's say I put AB at 5, right? To leave room for, hey, he could give me some really awesome brands afterwards that are, on par with AB. Where do I put them? Do I put them at 4? Do I put them at 5? I'm kind of like stuck with where I go. Damn. Oh, no, this is going to be really tough. Oh, God, I'm going to regret this decision by the end here. I'm going to have to go with, I'm stuck between 4 and 5 because they make some apps. Are we doing Alec Bradley / Alec and Bradley?
Yeah, let's just include them both. Why not?
Okay. Because
why not?
They make both Alec Bradley and Alec / Bradley, which we'll include together here, make some of my absolute all-time favorite cigars. SCR that we shipped last year, the Tempest, Kintsugi, Magic Toast, Petite Coyo, or the Coyo, the Petite Lancero is absolutely one-time, all-time favorite cigars. Black Market. Oh, goodness. Gatekeeper. I'm going to go with 5. Nope.
Wow.
4.
Okay.
No, 5. 5. We're going to go 5. We're going to go 5.
You listed off a lot of cigars there. I thought for sure.
I know, but I'm like, I don't know what you're going to include. I'm trying to like rack my brain of what's been on Cigar Aficionado's Top 25 over the last 2 years. Now, once again, this is my opinion. This is not anyone,
no, this
swaying
is law.
one way or the other. Yeah, this is law. I'm going to go with 5. It's the first one. I think that's a good, lawyering way to think about it.
It would set the tone for the rest of the list.
It does. But yeah, for all those reasons, I mean, Kintsugi was my top cigar when it originally came out. I think it was 2021, maybe, if memory serves. Like I said, Magic Toast is one of those cigars that I give to everyone to just blow their minds. Here's this super dark looking wrapper, but it smokes so creamy and medium bodied that you just don't expect it. The Coyo Petite Lancero is all time one of my favorite cigars. The Gatekeeper is up there as well. So it could go 4 or 5. I'll probably regret putting it 5, but I think being the first one, I have to go 5. Lock it in.
Locked in. All right. Next brand, Rocky Patel.
So Rocky's a tough one for me. I mean, Rocky makes absolutely wonderful cigars. I smoked a ton of Rocky Patel when I first got back into smoking cigars in 2016. The Decade was one of my absolute go-to cigars. The vintage 1999. This guy's just trolling around looking at me, brother. I think is what it's called. So, I mean, he has an extensive portfolio, and chances are there's a Rocky Patel cigar that you'll enjoy. For me anymore, I don't smoke Rocky at all. If someone were to give me one, I would gladly smoke it. When I was at the Rocky Patel Burn Lounge in Atlanta at the Battery, I picked up the 56 or something like that. It was one of their anniversary celebratory cigars, and it blew me away. It was absolutely fantastic. So there is a lot to say about the kind of higher end Rocky Patels. I think he gets kind of flack for a lot of his more budget friendly cigars that maybe don't, as we begin our cigar journey, kind of fit our profile more, and then we start to get to more in the higher end premium type market, and we kind of only associate Rocky Patel with those cigars that we were introduced when we first began smoking, because you can find them in every brick and mortar. So I think a lot of times, especially me, I forget about his more kind of premium lines that he offers within his vast portfolio. So for me, Rocky Patel, I'm going to put it 8, but I think that's just because I've kind of gradually over the years shifted away from Rocky. But that Decade still lands a spot in my heart. I will gladly smoke that cigar anywhere, anytime, any place, and it's just a nostalgic bomb.
I will say in the last 2 years, Rocky Patel has been in the top 5 both times.
He has. The one that just came out, I know a lot of people were smoking that cigar. I forget the name of it. I think that was his. Didn't he just come out with $100 stick, like the gold bar or something like that? I think. Yeah.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Next,
that one I felt a little bit easier about. All right,
Yeah.
so I'm less.
Gave you a tough one that I knew kind of you would.
Yeah,
be
yeah.
Lower.
Oh, that was a. That may have been Black Widow. Cool. Let's do it. Just killing spiders
Black
over
Widow?
here. I don't know. I
And
saw
die on
red. I
screen?
killed it before I studied it. David goes down on the podcast.
Yeah. He dies live on the podcast. Next brand.
We didn't break 1 million views for me going down. I'd be real upset.
That's what I'd put some ad spend behind it if that was the
Yeah,
case.
exactly.
Next cigar brand, La Polina.
Ooh. All right. If the next one, are you going like hard, difficult? La Polina is another one that I was fortunate enough that we had a lot of La Polina events at my local cigar shop when I started that cigar journey for me. And that one, unlike Rocky Patel, stuck with me. I think I befriended the rep, so that was certainly part of the continued smoking journey for me, just because every time I'd see him, he'd always hand me, something new from the catalog of La Polina. But also, I think for me personally, the tobacco, the way that they blend just resonates better with me. Some of my favorite cigars, Mr. Sam was really the one that got me hooked on kind of that next level of cigars, right? I was smoking $6, $7, $8 cigars, and then I was given Mr. Sam, and that kind of just pushed my boundaries a little bit more and expanded what I was smoking at the time. And it's still probably to this day, the Mr. Sam Robusto is probably my favorite La Polina cigar, just because of how much importance it holds in my cigar journey. I mean, La Polina Goldie is out of El Titan is probably their best cigar, although they've been coming out with some absolutely amazing high-end ultra premium cigars, whether it's out of El Titan or their other factory. I'm going to say the La Polina Nicaraguan Connecticut that they just had. That was really, really good. That rated really high when we did our top 23 or top of 2023. I'm going to have to go with La Polina coming in at 4. That's tough. Once again, Alec Bradley and La Polina for me could really easily switch places. That's tough.
All right, next on the list, we're going to go with Drew Estate.
Interesting. I think this is another line similar to Rocky Patel that a lot of people get introduced to when they start smoking. They have, whether it's acids, whether it's their undercrown lines, those to me are really great, like introductory lines within the Drew Estate catalog. Obviously, acid is going to be infused, so that may not necessarily be your journey, but their acid line is not for me, but I think it's the most popular line out of the Drew Estate portfolio, and maybe just anywhere. I mean, you could go anywhere and there's acid cigars. And for me, when I really wanted to start smoking boutique cigars, although I don't consider Drew Estate boutique, but I certainly did at the time. I remember seeing a picture of the Liga 9, and it was this dark, oily, toothsome cigar. I mean, it photos beautifully. And I was like, I got to get my hands on this cigar, to the point that I drove, when I was in Columbus, Georgia, which is like 45 minutes from me, I went humidor hopping so I could find one. I could have bought it online, but I wanted to support local, or a local brick and mortar, I should say. And they were the closest shop to me that carried the Liga line, because you've got to have so much, Drew Estate facing, I think, to be able to carry those cigars. So, I mean, I sought it out. I didn't want to buy it online. It's a fantastic cigar. I prefer the T52 over the Liga 9. Interestingly enough, and I've talked about this before, the Liga series, both the 9, the 52, the H99, kind of all the variants they've come out with, I don't particularly think age well. So if you've got a box of those bad boys, or if you've got one and you're kind of sitting on it for any reason, I would say 6 months after getting it, it starts to really lose some of that oomph that it has fresh is kind of subject because you don't know how long it's been aged at their warehouse or maybe at the store or their factory. But I always say don't sit on any of the Liga cigars. Smoke them when you've got them. They smoke better early in their life than they do aging, which is interesting because I don't find that to be the case with most cigars. That one is always the example that pops out of my head of the exception to the rule. I think most cigars do well as they age and aren't going to lose too much. But ranking-wise, for me, I'm going to go with 7 on that one. I don't smoke too much Drew Estate anymore, but anytime I do, they're always fantastic. I haven't tried the new 100 Acres, I think is what it's called, that they came out with last year or the year before. I've heard really good reviews on that. I love all the undercrowns that I've smoked, all the Liga series, all the, the Rats, the Papa Fritas, Nasty Fritas, all of those are really great cigars. So 7 for me.
Next cigar brand, let's go Tatuaje, which I don't think you smoke a ton of.
I do not. And that's and that's just because I don't have any access to Tatuaje around me. And I have so many cigars that it's hard for me to just go out and start buying cigars just because I have a backlog of cigars that I need to smoke for inclusion in boxes or new brands that have reached out to me. Pete Johnson, to me, is one of the godfathers of what I'm going to call modern cigars, of at least how I, as a 35-year-old young adult, I guess I'm not a young adult anymore. Jesus. Oh, shit. I don't know. Do I get to claim that?
You can claim whatever you want.
All right. As a young adult, at least
the comments might say otherwise.
Yeah, a young adult in the terms of I think of what most people think of as the demographic for cigar smoking. I think most people associate like 45, 50. Although I think over the last few years, we've seen a lot, especially since COVID, we've seen a lot younger generation that have been introduced to the premium cigar market. I'm not talking your White Owls or your Black and Wilds, but the real premium cigar market. I think we are seeing a younger demographic be introduced and really take to the rituals, the pleasure of smoking a cigar and the relaxation and the therapy that can come with it. But all that to say, it's not one that I smoke often. Every time I do smoke a Tatuaje, they're always really good. And I'm blown away. Where would I put this? For me, I think this one's going to be a little different than how I've rated the others, which is probably not how I should do this. I'm going to place this one where I think it belongs, not just because I don't smoke Tatuaje too often doesn't mean that I don't think it's not deserving of this spot. So I'm going to put this at 6. I'm trying to remember what spots I have open left.
You have 1, 2, 3, and then 9 and 10.
Okay. I couldn't remember if I had 7 open or not. Ah, shoot. I may be shooting myself in the foot here.
Let's see.
I'm going to end up putting like Davidoff at 10 or something like that, and everyone's just going to roast me.
Let's go with the next brand on the list. Let's go with Ashton.
Let me see. If memory serves, Ashton is... Nope, not Ashton Kutcher. Thank you. I think they're a subsidiary of Davidoff, are they not? Or am I making that up?
Oh, if they are, then maybe I got to mix up my list.
Yeah, it's okay. We'll just roll with it. So yeah, this is a brand that I don't smoke too often, and it's a brand that I think of being more old school than it is. Like when I think of growing up and my dad smoking cigars, I remember him buying boxes of Ashton cigars. And so it's honestly one that I can't tell you the last time I smoked one. The VSG being, I think they're probably their most recognizable and popular of the brand. And it's certainly the one that gets maybe not, maybe they are just Ashton. It's certainly the one that gets the awards from them. The white label Connecticut, I think is what it is. I'm trying to figure out. I think just their regular Ashton is the one that I have smoked most recently. And that's just like a really good, easy, mild, what you associate with like, I don't want to say a boring mild, but a pretty typical mild Connecticut cigar is that Ashton white label. Out of their portfolio, I would say the VSG is probably my favorite. I haven't smoked the Maduro. I haven't smoked any of their ESGs or any of their other ones. So my experience with Ashton's limited. For me, I don't know, something about it just speaks the 90s for me. So with that, I'm going to go with 9.
And I do have some insight for you on Davidoff. So it was originally made in the same factory as Davidoff, but then partnered with the Fuente family.
Okay. I knew they had connection to it, but I couldn't tell you. So I appreciate you doing that little background research.
So yeah, 1, 2, 3, and 10.
Oh, Jesus. Dude, I swear if you make me put Gurkha as number 1, I'm walking off set.
That's not on me. That's on you.
It is. You're right. It is not on you. God, I'm going to get roasted for those top 3. I know it.
All right, let's go with the next brand is La Flor Dominicana, LFD.
Yeah, another brand that I don't smoke a ton of, but I did a lot back when I began smoking cigars. Once again, I had befriended the rep that frequented our local store pretty much every week. And so I would run into him all the time. He would host events at least, every other month. And so I was fortunate enough to smoke a lot of LFD. We've done the podcast where we smoked the Double Ligero. A huge fan of the Caputo Chapter 2, the little chisel tip cigar, which is actually probably one of my favorite LFD cigars. The Especial Kappa is actually probably neck and neck with the chisel tip lines out of LFD. And it's funny, too, because I think it just shows how invaluable a local rep and reps for companies can be, because how many times now have I talked about the influence that those reps had on my cigar journey, and specifically now La Polina and LFD, even though I don't smoke LFD really too often, the impact that they held on my cigar journey and the cigars that they were kind enough to maybe not necessarily give me, but say, hey, you should try this new cigar, or hey, I've got this new cigar, go ahead and smoke it. I want to know your thoughts, right? And so LFD certainly still is up there for me. Obviously, I'm 1 through 3. I'm 3 versus 10. I don't think it's deserving of 10, especially because I'm waiting for you to throw Gurkha at me. I don't know. Actually, I don't know. I don't think if Gurkha is made.
I will say I don't think Gurkha's.
I don't think Gurkha's made a Cigar Aficionado top 25.
No, I don't think so. At least not in the last 2 years.
I'm going to go, golly, I hate that I have a 10 spot open. I'm going to go 3 for LFD. Yep, 3. 3 it is. I actually was picking out a cigar yesterday to smoke. I hadn't eaten anything, so I didn't pick it up, but I've got an LFD Lennox just waiting for me to smoke, which is probably one of their most popular, recognizable. It's the dark cigar, but it's got that blue nighttime wrapper. Almost reminds me of like Starry Night.
I got a Cigar Journal Best Dominican Cigar 2016. I'm on their website right now. That's why.
I mean, when I think of like just full raw-bodied Dominican cigars, it's LFD. I think that's the closest. I think they really try. Like, if you gave me an LFD cigar and a Nicaraguan cigar, I would have a hard time telling you which one's Nicaraguan, because they have very similar profiles to a lot of the Nicaraguan cigars that I've smoked. So yeah, if you only smoke Nicaraguan cigars and you're looking to try a Dominican brand, grab yourself an LFD.
Nice. All right. So you got 1, 2, and 10 still available.
1 and 10 are going to come back to bite me. I know it.
And let's go with the next brand.
Padron.
Davidoff.
Everyone here knows how much I enjoy Davidoff cigars. Oh, goodness. I'm going to go 10. No. For me, the reason I love Davidoff cigars is they offer a lot of unique blends that I enjoy. Experimental tobacco. I enjoy rare, not necessarily rare, but limited harvests of tobacco that is purposely blended to highlight the uniqueness or something, a characteristic of that harvest that sets it apart from maybe a different crop or your traditional harvest that they would have. And so one of the big reasons I like KBF is because they house all of that kind of rare one-off unique tobacco that Davidoff has access to. The Davidoff Yamasa is a wonderful cigar. All of the limited, Chef's Edition, Art Edition, the Year of editions are all really cool interpretations and utilizing more rare tobaccos. So that's a lot of the reason why I gravitate to Davidoff, because it's a unique smoking experience that you more than likely won't have anywhere else or have again unless you're buying boxes of it. Same reason in the craft beer industry, I really like when people use experimental hops, because it's just you can kind of get tired of drinking the same old IPA or maybe having the same old cigar. You can kind of, you know what you're getting into when you see, okay, this is a Nicaraguan blend or this is a Dominican blend, Honduran blend. And so when you have something that puts a twist on it with a unique tobacco, it gets you excited. Even if I don't necessarily enjoy the cigar, it's something that I'm looking for, like, hey, what is this, rare tobacco that they only harvested, 1,000 boxes for? And so you get to think about it a little bit more and look on it. And, outside of their experimental releases, they make some incredible cigars that are consistent year to year. So for that, I'm going to put them at number one because I don't know what's coming next, and I don't want to leave open that number one spot. That one's tough because it could go one or two, because it's not necessarily my favorite brand, but in the spirit of the list, I'll put them at number one, which I think a lot of people expected.
I think you're going to be okay with your list here, because there's two left, and I know one you have a strong opinion on.
Oh, okay. Well, that's definitely Padron.
Well, okay, maybe you have strong opinions on two.
Okay, well, here we are. Foot and mouth.
So the next one we're going to go with is Oliva.
See, I don't know if you were just pulling my chain, and Padron's not on this list. Yeah, it's definitely one that isn't deserving of 10, and that is going to be where I put them. They are a brand that everyone loves. I enjoy the cigars made at Oliva that aren't necessarily the Oliva brand, which is interesting because that doesn't really make sense. I think they have amazing tobacco. The Oliva Melanio V or 5, whatever, is a cigar that I think everyone in the world but me enjoys. And I think I maybe took a little too much hype into it. So as I went to smoke it, I expected this kind of cigar epiphany moment where, the lights shine on you and you realize what you've been missing for the last X amount of years. To the point I gave one to my dad. He smoked it yesterday and he loved it. He sent me the wrapper and he's like, this cigar is amazing. So maybe in a blind test, I would rate it higher than when I've knowingly smoked it. I enjoy the cigar. It just doesn't blow me away to what I see other people being very excited when they smoke it and the praise that they give it. That being said, they have a vast portfolio. They have, like I said, some absolutely amazing tobacco. I would love to blend a cigar with Oliva tobacco and visit the factory and sit down and play ground it up. But for me, just the brand itself and the cigars that they release don't necessarily resonate with my palate, even though I really enjoy the tobacco out of their factory.
And your number two is Padron.
Yeah. And I don't think that's anything out of the list. I would probably rank them. I would still put them in the top 5. 2 isn't necessarily where I think they would land at. Specifically, I'd probably put it at 5 and move everything else down. Maybe La Polina at 2, Tatuaje at 3, AB at 4, and then Padron at 5.
You'd make Tatuaje go over AB.
Tatuaje at 3, AB at 4, and then Padron at 5. So I would move La Polina to 2.
Right now your list is Davidoff 1,
mm-hmm.
Padron 2,
mm-hmm.
LFD 3,
mm-hmm.
La Polina 4,
Alec
Bradley 5,
yeah,
Tatuaje 6, Drew
Tatuaje
Estate 7.
Okay, so Tatuaje I'd keep at 6. I would put La Polina at 2, Padron at 5, and then what was
AB at 3.
And then what would be
then
4?
LFD. Or would you have AB or LFD?
I would put LFD at 5, Padron 4, AB 3, La Polina 2, Davidoff 1.
Davidoff 1.
The top 6 I'm very happy with. But Padron, I smoked the Padron 1926 Churchill Natural the other day. Phenomenal cigar. I think I'm one of the few that prefer the Natural over the Maduros. It's I think a brand that I poo-poo on a lot because of how influential they are in Cigar Aficionado's top 25. I also would like a little more innovation out of Padron. I don't know, I go a little stale, a little tired of, to me, a lot of their blends taste the same. I think if I were to do a blind ranking or a blind tasting of the Padron lineup, I would have a very difficult time telling you there was, if you gave me all naturals, obviously if you throw in like a Maduro in there, it would stand out. But I would have a very difficult time telling you the difference between the 26, the 64, the 80th anniversary edition, just because their profile is so Padron, for lack of better description of it, that I think they get lost in between their different lineups. And I don't know, they have amazing tobacco. Obviously, I just want a little bit more innovation out of them.
That's a good podcast down the line. Got to bring back some cigar blinds. I think. Could you just smoke Oliva again?
Yeah, that'd be fun to do the Melania blind and see if I actually enjoy it, not knowing what it is. So yeah, I mean, that's a lot of the poo-pooing that I have on Padron. But I mean, at the end of the day, they are one of the most popular cigar brands. When I think of high-end premium cigars, Davidoff, Fuente, Padron are the 3 that immediately jump to my head. And honestly, the Padron 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, which are their more budget-conscious sticks at $8 or $9, are killer smokes. Those things age beautifully, and if you want to see some dark cello, throw a Padron 3000 in your humidor for 2 years and pull it out, and you've got yourself the most oranged cellophane and a cigar that smokes beautifully. So I have no issue with that too. Thank God it didn't end up at 10, or else I'd be kicked off the internet.
I think I can't remember what cigar it was, but when on a podcast we smoked a more expensive Padron and a less expensive Padron.
Yeah, and
I think you both preferred the cheaper one.
Yeah, it was probably the 2, 3, or 4,000, one of their 1,000 series line. Yeah, no, I'm happy with this. Obviously, I would tweak the top 5 a little bit, but I think that 6 through 10, maybe those top 8, 9, and 10 could be swapped around a little bit. But this actually turned out better. It was I really expected to throw something in the top 3 that I did not want to be in there. That would have been.
That'll be the next time we do this. I'll throw in.
Oh, really?
More.
Yeah. Okay. You're just trying to get me fired over here from ever making a podcast again.
But it was a pretty solid list.
That turned out a lot better than I thought it was. I was as soon as you gave me AB as the first one, I was like, oh, shoot. Where the hell am I going to put this so that I don't shoot myself in the foot, but also put it in a spot that it's deserving of? So thanks for making that difficult right off the gate, but you went easy on me thereafter. Ramsey, thanks for putting that together. I'm going to let you get to work putting all the amazing graphics and lists and ordering. I want brand logo flashing up. I don't, if we're allowed to. I don't know how that works. So the question of the show today is, what is a cigar with a crazy tasting note that is hard to miss? So I've got 2 answers for this one. One will be the Alec and Bradley Kintsugi, and I want you to go to your store, if you want to have a little fun with it, buy regular smoked paprika and buy Hungarian paprika, and taste them both, and you'll notice that the Hungarian paprika is going to be sweeter. Regular paprika is going to be obviously smoky, a little bit more spicy. And in the Alec Bradley Kintsugi, the tasting note that I got was Hungarian paprika. It wasn't this spicy, black pepper type of spice. It was mild. It was sweet. And I looked to my wife, Bailey, and I was like, what is this? And she's like, it's Hungarian paprika. And as soon as she said that, I knew she was right. And so I talk about it a lot, but she deserves credit for it as well because she helped me narrow down specifically what I was tasting. And it was one of those epiphany moments where she's like, Hungarian paprika. And I was like, oh my God, it is. I went in and tasted, the paprika that we had. And sure enough, it was that sweet spice as opposed to like harsh spice, harsh smoke spice. And another one is the HVC La Rosa 520 Maduro, and specifically in this cigar. And it's really the only cigar that I had it be so in my face. And that's the tasting note of blueberries. And my God, I have one or two of those left that I just refuse to smoke because of how good of a cigar it is. And it was a limited edition back in 2021. And it to me was reminded me of the experience that I had with coffee, where I had a really good Ethiopian Jaeger chef that was blueberry crumble and just was otherworldly and kind of opened up my eyes to what tasting notes you can get out of coffee. It was the same experience with the HVC La Rosa 520. So great question. If you have the opportunity to grab either of those cigars, think about those tasting notes as you smoke it. You may not get it, right? Tasting notes can be so subjective because a lot of the times they are memories and experiences that you've had before, which influence the tasting notes that you're getting, and what you're eating, what you're drinking at the time can really change the perception of flavor in the cigar that you're having. But for me, those two cigars stand out as kind of different, not wacky, but something different. You're not your typical earth, leather, chocolate type tasting notes. But we do want to do a giveaway as per usual. I want to know in the comments below, give me your top 5 from the 10 brands that we listed here. Obviously, all top, all the brands that we listed here, so it's not as difficult as it was for me, or maybe it will be. But yeah, I want to know everyone's top 5 of the 10 brands that we listed in the comments below, and we'll select a winner and send out a 5-pack from our vault of Comrade. That's what we'll do. So we'll send a 5-pack of our Customs Comrade from 2022 and send that to the winner. It'll be a random winner, so you don't have to give, an answer that you think that we'll like best. I want to know everyone's top 5 from the brands that we had here. And we
will be going back through the older episodes and picking winners. That's on me.
That's on this man right here. So we will get caught up with those and send out, we'll comment on the previous video winners to let you know that you won. But did you have something for me, Ramsey, or is that all fair?
I did have something for you.
All right, let's hear it.
Before we end the podcast, I wanted to ask you, if you had $65,000, would you buy this?
Jesus, I don't know where we're going with this. A $65,000 lighter. Who's make? Can you scroll up to the title?
It's can you not see it? DuPont. St. DuPont.
Oh, Jesus. I don't know who Frank Mueller is. I assume he's some artist.
I would assume as well.
So it looks like it's a soft flame. It looks more of a Zippo style. Does it also offer a butane flame?
It's a watch brand.
Yeah, it makes sense. There's a watch face on it. No. I wouldn't.
What?
Nope.
What if you had
if someone's going to give this to me, absolutely. Am I going to spend $65,000 on a decorative piece? Absolutely not. Because as we all know, cigar smokers lose their lighters. Confiscated, leave them at the brick and mortar.
The panic of you losing this lighter?
The panic of losing a $65,000 lighter. No, I'm going to renovate my garage and turn it into a humidor or a smoking lounge. I'll turn my office into a perfectly sealed, ventilated smoking room before I would buy a $65,000. That's a lot of cigars you can buy at $65,000.
Yeah. And it's a soft flame, but it's a double flame.
Give me, cool. No. It doesn't even do butane or jet,
Yeah. I mean, it just says double flame lighter.
Mm-hmm. Nope.
With a 3-day power reserve.
What?
I don't know.
Oh, because the watch probably actually works on it.
Oh.
I bet it's not just a decorative time
Yeah, that probably tells the time.
There's gears in the back of it. Absolutely not. That makes me want it even less. That's a cool piece. Don't get you wrong. That looks huge because it's got to fit a watch in it. Yeah, it says you might keep it in your lounge as a table. If you're keeping that in your lounge as a table lighter, wow.
Fancy lounge.
Yeah. No, thank you. Just 352 units. I mean, it's cool. It's cool that you could put a watch into it. And I'm sure if you're a really big watch guy, that probably stands out a lot more to you, especially if you enjoy the watches that he makes. For me, absolutely not. I'm going to either buy a ton of cigars or I'm going to renovate my office into a humidor room.
Here you go, $23. Watch
$23 on Amazon, or lighter that tells the time. Oh God, I wouldn't even spend $23 on that. That looks like pure ass. $65,000. That is absurd. But I guess for some people, you know, that's
you gotta like that.
That's like a $6 bill or $5 bill rather. The $6 bills don't exist.
No, it is.
Yeah, nope. Thanks for. I mean, that thing is huge. I bet that weighs like 15 pounds, empty. Well, thanks for that one. No.
Mm-hmm.
Would you?
God, no.
Oh, okay. I mean, and if someone gave it to me, I'm selling it. So, I mean, if you want to give it to me, sure, but I'm going to sell it.
Yeah, a lighter. It just needs to light my cigar.
Yeah. This works perfect.
I
can lose it.
These little ones.
Yeah, I can lose it. I don't care. Oh, you want a table lighter? Here, we got them.
That thing becomes a lightsaber when you
Quad
hold it down
flame.
for too long.
You can't see it. Cool. That looks stupid. Well, Ramsey, thanks for joining us. We'll see. Also, comments below. Like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell. You know the deal. Do you want to see more? I don't know where he's going to be at. Do you want to see more of this guy on the podcast more? Do we want him to come out from behind the camera? Join me. Maybe you like just me. Maybe you hate just me. Should we have Ramsey more on the podcast? I want to know. But thank you also for tuning in and joining us on another episode of the Cigar Club podcast. Sam, thank you for the bits of Havana San Andreas. Until next time, everyone, happy smoking.